All right, welcome to the Player Development Pod. You know me, I'm your host, Ed Jones. At Beyond the Field, we develop people and elevate programs. And I'm so excited to have Gus Felder on today as a guest. Gus has been on the Player Development Pod multiple times. You can find it here at the up in the cloud somewhere, and then also to be at the end. But we are talking about the House versus NCAA settlement and what it looks like in this new model of player development and providing and enhancing the experience of athletes in this new model. So Gus, I want to get you there. You're in it. You're doing it. I know I always appreciate you because you always see it so much deeper and there's so much structure in how you do everything. And I just appreciate just the brilliance you have in this space. So I was like, I think I text you like literally after like it happened Friday night. I think I text you
Yeah.
Saturday
Yep.
morning, like, hey, you want to jump on? So for those who do not know you and haven't listened to the podcast, you want to introduce yourself real quick before we jump into the questions?
Yeah, I'll go quick. I'm Gus, go by Big Dog Gus Felder. I'm here, blessed to be here again and share what I feel, and what I'm thinking. And so let's get it. I'm at Nebraska right now, so thriving, going, starting up season 3 right now, and got guys off in NFL. I went through 2 full seasons, and we're having a blessed time down here. So yeah, let's dive into this because House versus NCAA settlement, because my perspective is always a little bit different. I'm coming from the perspective of a former student athlete, and that's how, and when doing this job, working in this athletic field, I feel like you have to come from that perspective. Because if you don't know what it's like, you can't help us. You can't. I'll say us, me, because I'm one of them,
Right.
and hopefully I get a chance to share some stuff that I went through as a Penn State football player, a coach at several levels from high school through the National Football League, and I can share my perspective on that thing on this topic, which is great. I'm a little, I got some stuff I want, but I'll let Ed ask the questions. But thanks for having me again, Ed. I appreciate you. I do enjoy and like what you're doing in the space. You're bringing something big that's needed, and this hopefully another year or two we'll see a player development role added to every high school, college, and professional team, not just player engagement, but something that's big that's needed because the players need more than just X's and O's. And we'll talk about that here in a second.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the portion where we will dive into Gus back in the day with Spice and all of in this model. So I know you heard it rumbling around. You were in the space. It had been all talked about, but tell me what went to your mind. I think it was Friday at like 9:35, 10 p.m. when it broke.
Yeah.
Like, what was your first thought of like, oh, snap? Like,
All right. A little bit, I mean, it's probably with different perspectives for a lot of people. On the fence, but on the side, happy for what could possibly be with the right leadership and the right head coach involved in the school. That's where it starts at. What type of leadership do you have? How innovative can they be? And what's their thoughts or impressions on the student athlete? Because some coaches are in it for themselves, and then some coaches are in it truly to help develop people and build people. I've been blessed to be on the side with a staff and department head that truly, not just their talk or their slogans, who have lived a career of developing people. So my experience that I'm having here will not be the same that you're having at your place.
right.
And a lot of times that's out of your control. But when I first heard what was going on, we're still investigating, we're still trying to figure some stuff out. We all are. We're all taking information and interpreting our own ways and watching different podcasts, gaining information. I got a notebook full of stuff that I've been writing out here. Something come up because I want to know. I want to be able, when my guys walk into this room, I want to be able to have a conversation with them about what's going on, from my walk-ons to my most valued player, so-called valued player. I want to have detailed information I can give to them so they can take back and make decisions. So on my first initial reaction was, all right, let's go. Because when we going deep, why I feel like I'm happy for these guys.
Hey, this
Uh,
is
because I was a Penn State student athlete and I struggled as a student athlete. Not struggling in the fact that I was, but we didn't have much. And these universities was coming in, taking these small towns and making millions off of us,
yeah.
and just sitting back collecting a check. And I would get penalized for going to the cafeteria and taking some extra food out to go home and feed my family. Remember, when I was in college, I was married with kids.
Mhm.
So I'm going up in the cafeteria and I'm taking food out because it's food I'm taking home. I'm feeding we're going to eat. We all going to eat. I would get in trouble for that. That was called stealing. You know what I'm saying? I got put, I had to sit with Joe Paterno and tell him what was going on. He knew about it. He understood it, but the university, they didn't play that. So to watch these athletes now get compensated for what they're doing,
Hmm.
as a plus. But now the big side of it, look, let's not just throw. I was in the NFL and I want to get back to here because of this reason. Let's not just throw money at these student athletes.
Yeah.
Here's where the player development can have a big impact. Player engagement, player development have big impact on this. Let's let's educate these guys on what they can do with this. I was just saying I was excited about it, but this is a time for leadership and everybody to really pour into this aspect of it, and what can we do to better ourselves than everybody else. And like I said, I'm gonna share as much as I can. I'm not going to detail, but I'm saying we're competing. I I have a leadership and a team here that's finding ways to be better than everybody else at this. We
Yeah.
meet about it. We spend time on it. Our head coach is into this. Our GM is into this. You see what I'm saying? Our ADs are tapped in and locked in, and we're meeting. We're having strategic meetings about how can we better this than everyone else, and
Mhm.
maximize what we can get out of this, and not make this like other people. So I'm not going to go into much detail about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're at the forefront. I know a lot of people are, but I love the way our head football coach thinks and how he maneuvers and plans, because his overall purpose of doing this, because he was a student athlete, is to develop the best person he could develop,
Love that.
holistic, not just as a ball player, but in life after ball. What is their life would look like? So let's take this opportunity now, teach them how to manage certain aspects of their life that's different than ever been. And everybody talked about management, everybody talk about financial literacy and all. Everybody talk about it, but let's do it now. You got a chance to do it, not just a student athlete, but the parents and families involved with these student athletes. That's where so.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love you mentioned, not just throwing money at the athletes. What are, once again, hey y'all, Gus gonna give us much, but there's competing, so Gus ain't gonna give it all. He can't give it all. But what is some big concerns that maybe you thought about in this new model that people aren't thinking about, or just even some that you may have mentioned earlier? What are some of the biggest concerns for athletes in this new model?
The biggest concern for athletes is like just like the old, for me personally, which won't be an issue later, is not just the financial literacy, but the overall development as a person, and how to take like teaching guys filling out W-2s, filling out application, understanding taxes, and understanding that this is a job, and one of those 1,500 views was me watching your I watch your content, and you made some good points. But I think there's more of a chance for development to take place.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? I think more of a chance for just because you have a job, somebody's paying you, doesn't mean they have to stop developing. You should not want to develop yourself. I don't think that's the right approach. I hope and pray that as humans, that these universities don't take that approach. That's ridiculous,
Yeah.
because a good leader, a good AD, is going to find ways to develop his coaching staff always, no matter how much. And in most cases, in all cases, your football coaches, basketball coaches get paid more than your ADs, and the good ADs don't stop developing their people. They're always around the ones that really care, want to make an impact. So the hopefully the ones that aren't doing that hear this message right here, and they're going to find out how good they are as a leader, how much are you putting into your coaching staff? I ain't talking about the players yet. So if universities want to start chopping off and shutting people down, and getting rid of stuff, and cutting people out because they're afraid of developing, or they make enough to develop themselves, that's not a real approach. I think that'd be a cop out. That's not realistic. As a leader, you want the best. In order to be the best, you gotta teach people about. We have an AD here, Troy Dannon and Haven Fields, that they're in the professional development sessions with us as the ones they said, you know what I'm saying? So they don't just set up and leave. They're in there taking notes, notebooks full, that's the type of people you want to be around. And I've been blessed. And I know everybody doesn't have that. I'm blessed to have that. Our head football coach is taking notes on every speaker I bring in. And the speakers he bring in, the people that get in front, like, and that's all development, it's all staff development, personal development, and they're in there not just to bring somebody in and walk out. They're in there to dive in and take notes. And we have a great team, got a great system. And everybody, and I wish everybody could have what I have in my leadership, because they don't just put it in front of the teachers. They actually apply it and live it. And I hope I answered your question, because I get to rambling, get to talking, and I don't even know what your question was, but I know we got rolled.
No, it was good. No, you're good. It was good because you were talking about the concerns for athletes, and
Yeah,
concern is the area to continue to develop. So I
yeah.
appreciate you.
So yeah, oh yeah, back to so the air conditioning development. I hope that and pray that no one will come in and say, all right, since we're paying these guys, let's not find a way to develop them. That's the wrong approach because you think college football is crazy now. College athletics is crazy now. Like, and it's this last year has been like the Wild West. So now we're getting some. I like that we're putting our heads together and getting some structure.
Yeah.
So that's my first initial reaction. We're getting some structure. We got people thinking and talking about because when NIL first came out, no one knew what it was and what it was about, who was governing, who was watching it. Now we're putting those entities into place, and now we're going to have something productive come out of it. It's going to have its ups and downs. You're going to, you got to try something to cross out what didn't work and enhance what does work or add new things on it. But at least they're starting to, they're laying the foundation down and they're starting to add on and fix some issues that was there. But I am so glad that we're going to find a way. Even let's go back to House versus NCAA. It's not just about the revenue sharing part of it and all that. It's about those players from back in the day. I'm mad they started at 2016. And there's
Ah, you ain't getting the check. You ain't getting the check.
I was on college football too now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
let's get 2003, 2002. I was the best line on the game. I ain't bragging. I'm just saying, like I was highest rated. Like they had a black ball head dude on there.
You need that check.
You know what I'm saying too. But I'm happy. I like that because I was coaching during those times and I was watching these. I was at Georgia, I was at Miami. I'm looking at these places we're selling out, and I'm looking at these people that staying all these kids' jerseys on, and we had some athletes that get their little stipend check, and a few weeks later they have no money because they're paying bills, they're paying sending money at home. It was being mismanaged by some guy, but some guys was truly into taking care of families. So I'm happy for those things, for the even the revenue sharing. Now I'm gonna stop right here. Now, for us, for the player development side, you have to come up with some innovative and creative ways to reach your athletes. You're gonna have some athletes that are financially, literally sound and know what's going on, and some of them who aren't. But how can you have to come up with some creative ways to include everybody to teach them something they don't know, or just help with some helpful reminders or how to surround themselves with the right people. So there's some stuff we can do, a lot of stuff we can do, but you got to sit down, think outside the box, reach out to people, ask questions, and find out how ways if you can be the best for your program, not comparing what I don't care what everybody's doing. Not that I don't care. I can't be running around worrying about what else doing because I'm lose time working with what my guys need.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I'll take it even a step deeper before I get to another point I thought about as you mentioned, where you're at and different things like that. But so diving deeper, that's definitely that's foundational, right? But in ways you talked about earlier that player development can be even more impactful, which I totally agree with you. What is a one way that maybe people aren't thinking about that you've seen player development over your entire career? Ways that in this new model, it will even allow for player development to go even deeper in its impact.
First, I'm going to start to say player development is not just community service. That's what everybody start to think it is. Everybody start to tie it to it. Player development, community service is just, and I'm gonna say this with all due respect for me, I'm gonna set them up, I'm gonna get them on, but it's a way for me to engage and get to know my players out in the field on these trips out of the building. So then I can get them to come talk about anything they want to talk about.
Right.
So it's an avenue, it's a catapult value. So the biggest thing that we can do is we have to learn, like you have to go in and learn from those guys in the National Football League at dealing with guys that have money that never had money before. And then start now we get them even younger.
Mhm.
Some of these coaches running on talking about just buying chains. No, that's just one thing. You can teach a guy how to buy a chain a cheap way and still have money. It's moisture, not all other cheap stuff they can get on the NFL guys really use. They don't know,
Right.
but I just look at other ways of educating these guys and reaching where they are. And everybody wants to go buy a fast car. So I bring in, I mean, I'll give some, just talking about ways of creating ways of programming for what these guys are going to be dealing with and using and
Right.
seeing. They want cars, they want jewelry, they want to buy a restaurant. They want to eat out every night. Even the Duke thing, everybody wants to Uber Eats. Sit down,
Yeah.
teach your guys how Uber Eats works and show them how much the money they're wasting them by using that product. Not
Absolutely.
knocking it. It's the purpose for everything.
Right.
Store's right down the street. So it's a little. I'm walking around trying to give enough where everybody can just. I want to help with some critical thinking. I'm gonna give you some words to use so you can process and think. That's what I'm saying. Don't try to find the easy way out. I have 130 players here that I have to know what their needs are. My
Mhm.
coaching staff, we all are diving, and we all trying to find what their needs are. We meet every week as a care team to figure out what is going on, guys, so we can meet them where they are. But really sitting down, brainstorming, strategic planning for your program, what your players need to have and what they need. I think I answered it without
No,
trying to
that's it.
do the
No,
same
that's
thing.
it. Hey, I'm not trying to get you to give too much, 'cause I
Yeah,
understand.
I want to share, but I want everybody to think though. That's the happen. I think like social media really has taken us away from thinking
I like
and
that.
processing information. And I'm trying to use keywords so you can grab onto it and maybe you can go down and write some stuff out. Pick up a phone. I know I gotta get back to some people too. So I'm gonna say pick up a phone and reach out to some folks. I got a lot of people to get back to. No, I'm not avoiding y'all. I guess I have stuff to do. You know, I have stuff to do. But we have to find out what our athletes need. They all have issues. All have struggles. They all want to learn. I'm an athlete first. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be loved. I want to be held accountable. I want to be taught. So all those things to play. So these guys want the same thing. We have to find a way to get that done. And community service is not just getting that done.
Right.
It's a part of it. It's a small phase of player development, but people around the world really just think that, oh, I'm going to take my guys to community service. That now, I'm gonna tell you why your community service is greatly better community. I was a poor kid from North Philadelphia. We used to get block cheese from the church, which is still the best cheese in America to me right now. All right, but I want to do to give back to people. I do my community service events all around Lincoln, everywhere I go, and I make sure different guys go because I want to get to know different people on my team.
Yeah.
I want to reach out and just it's just one tool I use for me to connect with the player. And I like I think just trying to be creative. Yesterday was really hot here in Lincoln. It was Father's Day, and I knew some of the guys were gonna come over, and I probably won't do this again. But I had all these big guys at my house, man, and I did it just to get close to one new player. But I knew
Right.
the circle, so I had them bring them with them. I did that on purpose to get close to one kid from Hawaii, Brian Tapper, who I didn't get with, and I got a chance to spend hours with him yesterday.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
that's thinking strategically get guys around, but I won't do it again, man, because them boys can go. Them white boys, they can eat, big dog. I'm talking about.
You got a house at home, as they
They
say.
big eaters. I'm like, but I had to do it. I had to have that was my opportunity to get that done. So, long story short, what we can do in player development when this thing is coming up is finding ways to make these rules and these things play in our favor. The coaches don't have time to. They can do one team meeting and talk about this. It's your job to take those messages from your team meeting that your coach is giving out and find a way to get it to everyone in that room to make them understand it in the ways they can relate to. It's going
Yeah.
to take some work. You got to go to cafeteria. You got to just get out and go get it. So it's a great time. Don't take a back seat to this. Don't take a back seat and think, oh, they're going to start cutting. They're going to start cutting people out. No, if they do cut out, guess what? Go find your high school to get into and make that place better. Don't worry about them cutting out. Just worry about getting the mission done and getting the word out there and helping these athletes understand what's happening to them and keep them from getting taken advantage of. From oh man, we can keep going from all these
No,
handlers and so agents out there. So all this stuff is definitely way to jump into your freshman class, even your seniors. Find out who's so-called representing them, who's teaching them how to manage money, who's contacting you to be agent, and break it down to them how if they're good or not, how to select that process. So there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of education you can put on this, but you can talk about it for days. I'm gonna shut up because I'll keep going.
no, you're good. You're good. And I know you mentioned it like the whole house settlement. One part of it is the roster restrictions. And I know walk-ons are
That's the next thing. Yeah,
a
yeah,
huge history in Nebraska. And I was reading, and I think Football Scoop, some other articles, you all thinking about critical thinking, your program did an incredible job of getting ahead of that, giving opportunity for transitions as, we knew this
yeah,
was in the pipeline. If you want to speak into that, once again, I
yeah.
know
I do.
all competing, but I just think with that aspect too, in Nebraska's rich history will
Yeah.
walk on and
That's the part that's hard. That's the part that it's like it's gonna I hope it doesn't go play. I hope they grandfather it in. It's her different
yeah,
talks are gonna happen
yeah,
with the roster because it's about people, man, and it's hard. You got guys coming in here, walkers coming in who and who do great for the GPA, but are great people. They're great people, they're great workers. They help our scholarship kids to transition in, hopefully everybody's doing the transition program and those are the kids that are helping your program stay stay afloat and do and thrive. And our head football coach was a walk on in college, and I know for a fact he would never vote for anything like this. This is
yeah,
not that's not how he do. I think one of our biggest issues when National Football League is that he wants to develop players, and this National Football League didn't work that way. And the NFL was like, get this guy out and give me another IN. But we wants to keep working on developing the guys that we have, and I love them for that, and I praise them for that. You know what I'm saying? So this is the same thing here. We got guys that may have to go, but and one thing about our 3 years here since we started in 2023 for first season, and this is a culture thing that's led by a leadership and the staff that he built on people running. Whenever we have that transfer portal thing, a lot of guys don't go in there. We don't have many guys jump in. We don't tell nobody to leave. That's a great feeling, but it's a bad thing if we really have to cut this thing down because it's going to be tough. But it's a testament to him and what we and all the staff that we have here that guys don't jump in the portal. They don't want to go. They want to stay. I mean, guys just making a decision right now. I'm just going to stay and figure out and wait and see what happens. We had guys flat out say that we're just going to stay and hopefully don't go through. And we had, a couple guys that hey, if somebody's giving you some money, we want you to be here. Go to that place for a year if you have to, and then come back to us. And anybody that did even go in the portal, our head coach like, hey, we're here for you when to come back. And that's a people's person.
Right.
It's not, and so that is the only decision that I'm not really, keen on, or I'm waiting to hear more about. I don't like it. I'm getting, I get letters coming in from parents just talking about, just the relationship you have with the players that come in here, man, is meaningful, it's big, and you don't even think you're making that type of impact on their kid and their sons and everybody, and it's cool. Like Father's Day is a great day for me. Just my inbox and people write me, and reminding you of all that you do, for kids that aren't yours, and how many people you impacted. And I'm Unc some days, I'm Big Gus some days, and but it's cool. But I don't like that. That's the one deal I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
I think that's the dumbest thing. Why does that matter?
Yeah.
It
That's
doesn't
what I was
matter.
thinking.
Here's
Like,
the
why?
thing.
What does that have to do?
What does
Like,
that got to do anything?
who
Like
threw that one in there? Like,
yeah, so it's crazy. Like NFL, here's the thing about the NFL, and here's if that 105 thing sticks and it's in there, like I don't know if it's, I'm not really, and a player goes down, you can't replace it with somebody else. In the NFL, somebody go down, oh, you out next day. Shit, that same day, somebody's in there ready to go. And those
right.
constantly training. Here, a guy has to be in school, he has to be enrolled, he has to get grades, he has to be training. There's so much going on to that. It's just not a good deal. Why take away the history of the football because you want to because you're afraid to pay people more money? Find more, it's money out there. Find money to pay everybody.
Out there.
Find the
There's
money to pay everybody. You don't have to cut nobody up to do that. There's money out
right.
there. These universities, you spend money on a lot of stuff, unnecessary stuff, upgrades every year for recruiting, all that stuff. Like you can. There's a way to get it done, and it probably came. I'm not in those meetings. It probably did come up. It probably was talked about, but I just don't think getting ready having these kids leave and that's gonna be the rough part right there. But I got faith in God that He ain't gonna do that to His people.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really, it's good to hear that they're talking about it. I hope they grandfather that one and then issue
Yeah.
it out. 'Cause that's crazy. All right, now we're about to take a trip on memory lane to Penn State. Gus, top lineman on NCAA. Gus. Now you mentioned it a little earlier, so we're just doing some role playing, taking it back
Yeah.
to 2000s. Gus, you mentioned it a little earlier, but you talked about being married with a kid, but want to come back to it. This money that these players getting during your time at Penn State, what else would that have solved?
Man, rent problems, food, biggest thing, food, clothes, my wife having to take all these jobs on, and I'm taking classes and trying to do summer jobs. I'm telling my man, we work summer jobs, construction jobs, then go to workout, but the workouts to bro. It solved a lot. I would have been, I'm not bragging. I would have made some money. I would have made some money. We talk about it all the time. Like, bro, I would have made some money. I would have been killing it. It would have been helpful. But the thing is, though, it wouldn't have been because, like I said, I didn't really know much about financial literacy until I was about gone. No one sat it. I didn't have player development at Penn State. I asked some coaches who cared about us, asked some coaches that liked us, but anybody sit us down, tell us how to spend our bowl money or that extra. What is that? What that money we got there, that refund check we got? Nobody tell me how to spend that. We just got that thing, went straight to Walmart. You know how that was. We went straight to the store, man. You already know it. So I don't know. It's a give and take on that. It would have been nice to have it, but they weren't talking about player development at then. Our strength coaches were our player development guys. I didn't see my coaches much till it was time for the season. I seen JT every day. JT, my guy, man. Our relationship is bonded and strong because of what we do at Penn State, but we didn't have no education on that. That's the bad. I keep saying education because it's so big to learn how to spend money and how to properly manage money. and we all struggle with doing it sometimes, but we think we got it mastered. There's some more we can learn about it, but I had zero information on that but when I got out of college.
Yeah.
So
No,
it'd have been nice though. It'd have solved a lot of issues, big dog. I
I hear you. I hear
know
you.
that.
You talked about mentorship, and I love this question because, like, even without the reality of making money in college, how important was mentorship for you as a player?
I had some great people in my life. I posted something earlier. We don't go through life alone. God always has a vision for us. So, like, I go back to just talking about at Penn State by itself. I knew Denny Rule, Coach Rule's dad, before I knew Matt, before I knew Coach. His dad was a pastor in State College and my little brother's first football coach. So I had coached my little brother in college, and I was married with my kids. So those older men like that who were just always encouraging me and helping me raise my little brother. That's mentorship. You know what I'm saying? So then I go back to JT. He was my strength coach for a long time. He was the first probably male figure that ever yelled at me, like, wouldn't he look up at me, and I love that guy. You see what I'm saying? So he gave me my first Power Five job or opportunity. You see what I'm saying? So much when he was ready to stop coaching, and when I went off to Miami, I got a chance to hire him on my staff, put him on my staff, and so much that I needed to still his mentorship going through. It was, and I'm telling you, right now, there's some people at Penn State, the coaches that when you stop playing, they wasn't picking the phone up, but JT did every time, every time.
Yeah.
Some position coach that wouldn't pitch for you wasn't no value to him anymore. So I wouldn't say I ain't gonna, but not JT, Jeremy picked them every time, all the time. I've talked to them guys to this day, every day. Talked to the just our conversation yesterday on Father's Day. Just it's just great real life mentorship. So at Penn State, I had Doug Posey. He was a black man in charge of the program that I got into that got me into Penn State because I was a non-qualifier, but it was academic summer program that Doug Posey ran, and look where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
He the first person told me I made dean's list. I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, dean's list, I ain't do nothing. You tell me you tripping. Yeah, look, I'm just being honest. I'm not, being transparent now. Man, all I get is A's now in my doctoral program. I don't get nothing but less than, you see what I'm saying? So, but it come from a long way from that. Those type of people. There was a few, not many. There was a
Right.
few, but not the way we have a chance to do it right now in 2025, because we have these positions. We have the NCAA give us the time to be around the players now. We don't have that much time around there, so it is some give and take, and all these rules that's coming out for the purpose. And some schools might overdo it, but we get to be around our guys a lot. We get to shoot. Father's Day at my house. I'm gonna put some pictures of it later. All them big guys coming to eat. That's just. I can take these guys out, have a meal anytime I want. So that mentorship continue to grow in 2020 nowadays than it back then. I know when my coach ever took me out to a restaurant to eat before. I do that like 3 times a week now with a different group of guys all the time. I go take guys golfing.
Right.
Like, it's just so much more we can do. So mentorship now, if you're in these roles as a coach, as an athletic director, as a player development, a nutritionist, you have a chance to be around these guys all the time to be a mentor to the ones that need it. There's so many different personalities and people around. They're going to relate to somebody. They're going to find you, but you got to make yourself available to it. We didn't have.
Yeah.
I was going to do at Penn State. My bad. We had each other. Me, Spice, BJ. We had each other. That wasn't always good either. I ain't going. I got some real footage of Spice. We got the real stuff.
Spice, where you at, Spice?
I got the real videos.
What'd you say now, Chuck? Nah,
Y'all have no idea, man. That guy done got guys kicked out of team meals, got guys kicked out of team meetings, and all he do is just come sit there and just pose, and everybody busts out laughing. You gotta get out, but he doesn't crack a smile.
oh man, that's one of the player development pod. That's that list of people one day, one day. What
Boy, he's
yeah,
great. Man. He's very intelligent, super fun dude, man. That's my bro, man. That's my dog. We go way back to '98, man. Same recruiting class, left college together, been to my wedding, my kids' wedding. That's just my guy, man.
love to hear that. Love to hear that. what would you tell? What would be your message? So we talked a lot about player development and a little bit of athletes, but what would your message be to athletes in this time coming into this era? Excuse me. What would be
See,
your
this
message?
is great question for me because God has blessed me so much, man. I have a son,
Mhm.
16, who's going through this process right now. I'm talking to him every day. We talk about recruiting, official visits, hey, going to offers, all that stuff like that, and they got social media. So my biggest message is stay off of social media, all right, and run your race.
Yeah.
All right. Every post you see is not the real. You see a lot of posts going on now with these kids posting fake offers because they just want.
Oh yeah.
I had my son the other day, I say something hey, he gonna understand I'm sharing. I'm like, when you went to that camp, to get better or to get an offer? Before I gave him
Mm,
that way, I asked him, why were you going to that camp? Why are you so sad? Oh, because I'm going to get an offer. I said, so you went to that camp to get an offer versus getting better.
mm.
Your perspective is screwed up. You don't go to a camp to get offered. You go to camp to get better. The camp is for you to better your skills, not to get offered. But that's the age we're in. They think they got to go to a camp or 7 on 7 thing to get an offer. My son's 16, is a running back safety. He's going to camps. I never did camp ever. My coaching ain't allow us to do it. Didn't allow us to do it. I said ain't. I'm talking from the hood now, but that's where I'm from. Never did that. But I just want to tell these guys to stay off social media, run your race, your path and plan that God has for you is for you. It's not going to be like somebody else's. So don't go there trying to compare. Comparison is the thief of all joy. So don't let it happen to you. And that's even our college guys right now. Don't be in his pockets. Run your race.
Right.
All right, you want his pockets, but you don't want his bills and stuff that he's dealing with that he's accumulated over that time. You want the debt he's accumulating either. So it's a lot. And that's our message all the time. Run your race. And I said, and it's crazy because our AD came in when Troy done the first guy had first thing he said into the team, and he go around all the team said, "Run in your lane." I'm like,
Mm.
man, and that's that. When I love that alignment. I've never met the man before. I've seen him. I never met him, but the alignment for him to make that type of comment and me say what I'm saying all the time, hey, run your race. Your plan with guys for you it's special. That's has special meaning. But we got a constant. This is my son and I talking last night after all the boys left, and he asked me these questions about recruiting. And all this. I was like, look, this is what God has for you. You don't worry about those. All these offers out there fake. Uh,
Right.
we host a camp here at the University of Nebraska. We host a camp to give all these kids a chance to come be a Husker for a day and get coached by our coaches. I love when our head football coach say that. We're not coming here trying to find or do no. We come here give these kids a low price to be a Husker for a day.
I love that. I love that.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's impactful. They don't get coached by you. They get coached by our coaches, our $1 million coaches out there sweating,
Yeah.
coaching
Being
these
that.
kids up like they're our kids. You see what I'm saying? Like there's other people probably doing it, but that's what we do here. That's why it's special. It's unique. So that's my thing. Tell these guys to run their race. The current players are getting the money right now. Don't be in everybody's pocket. Everybody's gonna get the same. Go ahead with the intentions of getting better, not to get paid. You'll get paid later.
Awesome. Awesome. And then the last question to end this is I've heard you speak and you've mentioned a couple times, but I just want to make sure when you're messaging, what's one thing you wish departments would never forget, even in these new eras? What is one thing you wish athletic departments, you mentioned a little bit earlier, just want to bring it back. One thing you wish athletic departments, college, high school, whoever, around the world, youth organizations never forget.
Easy, easy, easy. Don't forget how you make people feel when you talk to them when they leave talking to you.
Mm.
We're in a world of money and social media being seen, and sometimes we forget how we make people feel after they're done talking to us, after we're done meeting them. That's more important than anything else. And I'm saying like Ed, I've talked to you for so long now, and I met you through you just reaching out to me, and you know real people when you meet them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and after I meet, I was like, man, this kid gonna be all right. I mean, you're a grown man, but I'm,
Right. Understand.
I
Understand.
look youthful, man. I'm a little bit older. But I
Understand.
knew you just know, and you just know. And I knew how you made me feel that night. I don't know, I'm not, how it made you feel. I just knew that it's somebody real. It's somebody, not, looking to learn. That's one thing that I learned about you. Looking to learn. So
Absolutely.
that's what it is. So these people can learn one thing. These coaches, these ADs, the NCAA. Remember how you make people feel because it's about the people. Because without the people, without the players, you don't get the money.
Yeah. That's what I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited. Gus, can't thank you enough for making time. I'm gonna get with you because I got that Day of the Life series coming. I got the day we've been
Yeah,
talking
man.
about.
I need to be the first one to do that. There's no.
Okay, I got we gonna connect because I
Right,
got
as
some
a child
time.
living in there, but that's our idea. Nobody gonna get that, man.
Yeah. Okay, I got some time.
I've been shooting some already now, but I need you to be in there with all the commentary and all the
Hey,
questions.
I'm there, and I'm already going. Go ahead and say because I already know the Nebraska fans gonna be there. Y'all tell me where to go eat. Y'all tell me all that. Tell me where to stay. Y'all let me know all that stuff. But Gus, can't thank you enough, not only for what you've done for me, the player development pod, but there's so many people that listen to this, and it's just incredible. Platforms like this get to reach so many people. So even I know you take time, but there's people around the world who have listened to this, and I just appreciate you sharing, taking time, and I can't wait when y'all see us in person. I'll be like, all right, here we go.
There we go. All right, so look. I started doing YouTube when it was probably 13, 14 years ago. All right. I'll put it back up there now. It's back up.
Let's
So a
go.
lot of stuff from my family and the stuff of, just me, what I'm doing, old videos popping up when I shoot at different places, Clark, Atlanta, Cheney, Miami. I won't put much from Nebraska because I'm still here. So, but you'll get the whole Felder fam, the whole clan. You'll see us at amusement parks. You'll see us just hanging out, having some s'mores. So, and you'll see my kids growing up on TV. I did this 15 years ago. My son was 1.
Yeah.
So, but now I open them all up, so they're all back out there.
Okay. There we go. Awesome. Awesome.
Got to film more, but it's easy to find, man. Think about my name, real easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gus, I appreciate you. That's a wrap for the Player Development Pod. Thank y'all so much for being here. If you have any other questions, put it in the chat. As I always say, go out and create generational impact. And if you haven't yet, go get your copy of the Player Development Guide. Gus, yours is coming.
Well,
Yours is coming.
well,